Dutch and the French voters did not want to approve the Constitution for the European Union, so that politicians went out and did it anyway. But the people didn't want it. The referendum was the elementary basis of democracy. They also constantly changed the rules, or even did not respect their own decrees, like the no bailout decree 125. Today, with Greece asking for 120 billion euros, which is about, let me think now, that's about $180 billion. We have the assurance that the EU is a kleptocracy. She must have been watching Max Kaiser on RT. Now, RT's trying to get me on there, but I don't want to go on there. I disappoint everybody. I look like an old goat. Anyway, the Germans let their anger run free on radio broadcasting or in the internet press. The TV is run by the political class, those who spend our money, as if it was no tomorrow. The Germans never had the opportunity to express their discredit in a referendum like Spain, Luxembourg, or Ireland. I call them the EU aficionados, who, of course, voiced yes for the Chimera. On Monday, one listener cynically wrote to Melody, "Everything is okay in Europe like in the U.S. They print money, but I would like to add, the people are mad. They already paid the price with the euro currency. The Germans call it the Euro, from Teuer, meaning expensive. So that would be pronounced Teuro. The word for expensive is Teuer. Teuer. If you went and you saw something and you didn't like the price, it says, "Oh, that's ganz teuer." Anyway, and then somebody might turn and say, "Du bist billiger," and that would mean you're cheap. Anyway, on Monday, one listener cynically wrote to Melody, "Everything is okay in Europe, like in the USA. They print money, but I would like to add, the people are mad, and they already paid the price with the euro currency," and I explained that. And they feel the pain. 64% of the German population get social aid. That's incredible. And the middle class anticipate tremendous financial loss in their savings. And incidentally, the Germans have stashed away 14 billion D-marks. Now we can see a total loss of confidence unfolding and a lot of tumult ahead. And then she answers in German, which I won't read here because you won't understand it. She says, "Very good, Mr. Chapman. I wish you and your wife a good, restful week, and please stay healthy." That's generally what it means. And so you get a view from Europe. Now, let's segue into Europe. I was on radio this morning, and this is an interview with the largest newspaper in Greece. Don't ask me the name of it, I forget. But anyway, it was probably because of that interview on Athens International, which went BBC, Worldwide, French International, and Deutsche Welle International is what it means. And obviously people liked it. And so they interviewed me, and I didn't pull any punches. And I told the interviewer, who was the editor, He said, well, what should the Greeks do? I said, well, tell them to get out of the streets and stop demonstrating and rioting. It's not going to do them any good. And he said, well, they contend that they're not responsible for that money, the losses, the debt. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Of course they're responsible. They're the ones that allowed their government to do that. And they went right along with the program. They haven't done anything worse than the other 18 bankrupt countries, which includes the United States and Great Britain, but they haven't done the right thing. And what the government's going to have is an austerity program, and it's going to get very difficult in Greece, and it's the only way they can solve their problem, with help. Now, if the help financially is not forthcoming, they should stand back and say, if that's what you want to do, and you don't want to help, we're going to leave the euro, go back to the drachma, and default on all our debt. And I said, that'll get their attention. And I also told them that I felt that this was done deliberately, and the reason it was done deliberately was because they want world government. And we really get into that in the Bilderbergers and the fact that the Prime Minister of Greece is a Bilderberger, Papandreou. And I don't think he's going to like this interview one bit, because I think it'll be front page. And the only time I reached the front page was in 1974 when I did an interview with De Bleet in Johannesburg. And about a year before, I had left South Africa and Rhodesia and went back to the United States. And I went over to Joburg for some business, and they wanted to interview me. And I'll never forget, the headline said, gold expert says the United States has Mickey Mouse money. So, anyway, if I get it in English, you'll see it. But the problem in Europe is the same problem everybody else has. And that is that people have spent more money than they can pay back, whether it's sovereign, governmental, corporate, or individual. The game's over, and it's being forced to be over by people who want to bring down the world economically and financially so that they can institute world government. And the only way you can protect yourself is through gold and silver-related assets. And anybody else who thinks there's another way is sadly mistaken.
I concur.
Well, I mean, that was a great dissertation. I concur.
Mm-hmm. Certainly did.
Aren't you going to give us your 2 cents worth today?
Oh, you're asking me for my just 2 cents worth?
Well, whenever you get there.
You know, Bob, it's interesting because, you know, probably in the past week, you know, for a while it was just regular buyers coming in buying gold, and now I'm beginning to see another change where people who haven't purchased gold for a long time, people who are just trying to get into the market, and they're very scared of buying gold. And it's very, you know, it's just like they don't know what to do with it. You know, they think of all different types of ways to avoid purchasing gold. And it is they're beginning to understand, but it is their lack of understanding of gold, the function of gold is, I heard it mentioned very often. It's just something that, you know, struck out with my conversations with my customers in the past 2 weeks. So it tells me a couple of things. You know, the tide is changing, where people are now becoming back into the market that are new buyers. You know, their interest is now beginning to, gold is beginning to attract their interest due to everything that is going on. They are reading more, and now they're becoming more concerned again, which is good for the price of gold. Hello?
Did you want me to speak? Don't I talk enough?
Speak.
I think you're right. And those are objections. And the objections come when people are uncertain as to what to do. And I was a salesman for many, many years. And you have to, as a salesperson, honestly and openly answer each question.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no guarantee that you're going to convince people that they should be a buyer. But you have satisfied and neutralized the fears that they have about buying a certain product.
Right.
And sometimes